Hello everybody and welcome to another video, and today we're going to be revisiting Ward XVI or Ward 16. Now I covered them about 4, maybe 5 months ago now. Did a track of theirs called Shadows, which came off their most recent album Metamorphosis, and it was a fantastic piece of music, and many of the people who commented on that video mentioned Psycho Berry, the singer's voice, and how great her voice was. And one of the tracks that I suggested to people who made such comments was a track called Hold Me off their first album, The Art of Manipulation, because I think it's an absolutely beautiful piece of music. Her voice in that song is truly amazing. So that's the track we're going to have a look at today. We're going to have a look at Hold Me by Ward 16, off their album The Art of Manipulation. You know, a song called Hold Me. It's Valentine's Day, and some of us are single and all alone and wish someone would just hold them. But anyway, so yeah, we're going to look at that song today. I have some lyrics up here. It is a lyric video, and you know, you can actually hear the lyrics quite clearly, but it's you know, my thing to look through the lyrics and talk about them. So as I said, I've covered the band before, so we'll jump into the track and see what we've got. So this is Hold Me by Ward 16. Let's have a look. there we go. Hold Me by Ward 16. And, you know, I think that is just such a beautiful piece of music. You know, the whole instrumentation from it throughout the, you know, the majority of the song, you know, is a sort of nice, beautiful, sort of rather understated, you know, it wasn't too overpowering. And, you know, just the power of her voice is just amazing. You know, it's beautifully sung, it's beautifully performed. And then at the end, you sort of hit with that really nice guitar solo with everything else coming in. It's just a fantastic and beautiful piece of music. And it sounds really, really sweet and beautiful and sort of touching. Although when you actually take it into the context of the actual story told throughout the album, because as I mentioned when I covered Shadows, the first album, Metamorphosis, the second album, sorry, Metamorphosis, is explaining how the central character of Psycho Berry came to be an unhinged sort of serial killer. And the first album, The Art of Manipulation, is actually when she already is that sort of, you know, serial killer. And this track sort of hints at the genesis of how she became that, because she sort of became what she is because of neglect and abuse and that sort of thing. And this track sort of highlights that aspect of it. You know, hold me because I can't hold myself. You know, when she was a young child, she had no one to nurture and hold her and, you know, protect her from these demons that eventually took over and turned her into what she was. And that comes through in the actual lyrics as well. I mean, even the very first lines, it says, "There's an evil in all of us. If you let it take control, it'll grab you by the throat and suffocate your soul. It's so easy to forget what it means to be alive, so hard to remember the child we left behind." You know, so it's like, you know, everybody has the capacity for evil, but it's whether or not you let that come out, whether you let that take control of you, depends on how, you know, things will proceed. You know, it's easy to forget what it means to be alive and so hard to remember the child we left behind. You know, because at one point everybody is born innocent, everybody's born more or less innately good, but with the capacity for evil. And if you let that sort of evil side take control, it's easy to forget who you used to be, the sort of nice, sweet, innocent person you once were. Then it goes into that beautiful chorus, "Hold me, because I can't hold myself. Release me, save me from this hell." You know, it's like I need someone to hold me. I need someone to nurture me. I need someone to help me and to guide me, because, you know, I can't do it by myself. I've got no point of reference. You know, as a young child, you have no past experience to go by, so you need someone to guide you. You need someone to help you along your way. "I cannot escape it. I'm locked in this cell, dreaming of the days when I was something else. I cannot escape this. I'm locked in this cell. I am locked in this cell." So I can't escape it. I'm locked in this cell. This is possibly talking about, you know, after the moment when she was, you know, she was captured because of the crimes that she committed, you know, and all she's got to do now is, you know, dream and remember back to the days when before she became this monster, this sort of violent murder. You know, I can't escape it. You know, this is all I've got in my head. All I've got is reliving what I've done and what I used to be. You know, and sort of thinking, what have I become? And then it goes back into that chorus bit, "Hold me, because I can't hold myself. Release me, save me from this hell. I look into the glass. What is it that I can see? I hardly recognize who's staring back at me. If it wasn't for those big blue eyes, I could never believe that somewhere inside resides the child I used to be." So, you know, looking at herself in the mirror, you know, she's like, this is not, I don't see who I am. You know, I'm a completely different person now. I don't recognize the person that I'm seeing in the mirror, because, you know, I used to be such this sweet, beautiful, innocent child. I mean, this is even a topic that was covered in Shadows, in the track Shadows. You know, she says, you know, "I used to be such a lovely little girl," in that song. And here she's like, you know, I used to be such a sweet, innocent little girl, but looking at me now, I'm this sort of semi-crazed psychopath. You know, I don't recognize who I am anymore. I've lost my whole identity because I've not been nurtured. I've not had someone there to help me, to support me, to love me. And if it wasn't for those big blue eyes, I could never believe that somewhere inside resides the child I used to be. So, like, you know, they say eyes are the windows to the soul. So that's the only thing that sort of that she's got to hold on to that actually shows her that she really is that same person. She's just been so twisted over time that she doesn't recognize like her personality and stuff like that. But there is still some aspect of that child inside her. And then it goes into that chorus again. Hold me, 'cause I can't hold myself. Release me, save me from this hell. I cannot escape it. I'm locked in this cell, dreaming of the days when I was something else. I cannot escape it. I'm locked in this cell. I'm locked in this cell. So hold me, 'cause I can't hold myself. Release me, save me from this hell. And then she repeats hold me 3 more times, and then save me from this hell. And like I said, it's a really beautiful song. I absolutely love this track. I fell in love with this track the first time I've heard it. And you know, there was a little dedication to someone at the end as well. So you know, this song obviously has a strong meaning for them as well. So you know, it's a beautiful piece of music. I really do love it, and I just figured I'd share it. You know, I actually put this on my list a little while ago because I wanted to cover it and share it with everybody because I thought it was just such a fantastic piece of music. And you know, what better day than today? But anyway, I'm going to leave that as it is. Now, if anybody would like to suggest a track for me to react to, then please do so by all means. You can drop a comment in the comment section below, or message me on my Facebook or my Instagram, or you can even message me through my Patreon, where you can also help to support this channel, which would of course be a great help to me, since you know every piece of content that I upload gets immediately demonetized, so I make absolutely nothing from anything that I create on this channel. There is an option in Patreon where you can get your suggestion jumped to the front of the queue, should you so wish it. There is a limit on how frequently you can do that. It's limited to once a month, and that's just to be fair to people who just tracked through YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram comments, you know, so that they can actually get a chance to get theirs looked at. Otherwise, you know, they'd have no chance. If you do suggest a track through Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram, do know it could take me a while to get around to your suggestions, since I do get suggested so many new tracks every single day that my list grows faster than I can record the videos. But I do write down every suggestion I get, so it should get done eventually. It just might take a while to get around to it. Also, MetalHead Reacts is a proud supporter of the Sophie Lancaster Foundation, a British-based charity whose goal is to put an end to hate crimes, and one of the major facets of that is hate crimes against people of the alternative culture. And that's something I believe in very, very strongly, something I'm very, very passionate about, because it's something I've had to deal with for most of my life, but it's also something that gets very overlooked and sort of brushed aside and sort of classed as not a big issue, when it really is. And when I say, like, hate crimes against people of the alternative community, you know, I'm not talking about like names being shouted across the street or getting shoulder bumped as you walk down the road. I'm talking about real violent and brutal crimes where people are getting hospitalized with like broken limbs and sometimes even more life-threatening injuries just because of their taste in music and their taste in clothing. And this is a very real problem it's been going on for decades. Been going on for longer than I've been alive. And as I said, it's something that sort of gets brushed under the carpet and sort of treated as a non-issue. But, you know, when it comes to the point when people are losing their lives just because of their taste in music, it does become a very serious issue. And we can't keep ignoring it. You know, the last time there was any widespread conversation about this sort of thing was 14 years ago, when Sophie Lancaster and her boyfriend Rob Maltby were violently attacked and brutally beaten by a group of 5 or 6 people. They were kicked, punched, knocked to the ground, and had their heads stamped on, so violently that they both ended up in comas. Now, Rob Maltby, he did thankfully survive. He was in a coma for around about a week, maybe a bit longer, but he did thankfully survive. Sophie Lancaster, on the other hand, she was in a coma for 13 days before she succumbed to her injuries and she died. This young woman was 20 years old, and she was beaten to death just because of her taste in music and clothing. And, when this happened, this was all over the news when it happened, as it rightfully should have been. And over time, as all things do, it sort of faded away. But, like I said, that was 14 years ago. Since that happened, we've not heard anything similar. But I know for a fact there have been several hundred, if not several thousand more incidents similar to that since that happened. And we've not heard anything about it. And that's because no one's died. And that is unacceptable. We shouldn't have to wait for someone to lose their life before we talk about this. We shouldn't have to wait for someone to die before we start taking action against this sort of thing. Every day we hear about all these other hate crimes like sexism, racism, homophobia, transphobia, religious hatred, ableism. We hear these every single day. From the most violent and heinous, where someone is murdered for the colour of their skin, their religious beliefs, or their sexual identity, down to the most petty of these, where some entitled white woman is calling the police because a family of colour are having a picnic in a public space. We hear every facet of these every single day in every kind of media you can imagine. But we don't hear about these people that are getting beaten to within an inch of their lives because of their taste in music and clothing. And people have argued with me before that this isn't a hate crime. It is. It is the very definition of a hate crime. If you are attacking someone because you hate an aspect about that person, whether it is the colour of their skin, their religious beliefs, their sexual identity, or their taste in music, if you are attacking someone because you hate that aspect about them, you are committing a hate crime. And like I said, this sort of thing, it's been going on for years. Several decades ago, a punk was intentionally run over and killed just because he was a punk, and he was run over by one of these varsity football student type people. And the thing is, the coach let him off because he didn't want to ruin his future career prospects. The fact that he intentionally murdered someone didn't matter. He didn't want to ruin his future career prospects by sending him to jail. Where is the justice there? Because all he did was run over some punk. He murdered someone intentionally, but because it was some punk, it didn't matter. It wasn't important. Unacceptable. A couple of years ago in Glasgow, a young woman was running a charity gig. And at one point during the evening, for whatever reason, she had to go back to her home, which was a 5-minute walk away from the venue. During the time it took her to leave the venue and get to her home, in the space of time between the two locations, she was attacked twice by the same group of people. Again, a group of people. Knocked to the ground, kicked, punched, and beaten brutally twice in the space of 5 minutes. Thankfully, a passing taxi driver put an end to the attack. He didn't check to see if she was okay. He just buggered off. She didn't get any help until she went back to the venue to where her friends were. But again, this wasn't in the news. I didn't hear a thing about it until a friend told me about it. And, this happened in Scotland. I can literally walk to Scotland from where I live. It's about 4 miles away. But I didn't hear a thing about this. Unacceptable. Just because it's people from the alternative culture doesn't mean it's not newsworthy. Doesn't mean we're not entitled to justice. We're getting violently and brutally attacked. We're getting singled out by small-minded people who cannot accept the fact that not everybody likes the same stuff. Just because we listen to alternative music doesn't make us a valid target, and doesn't mean we're not entitled to justice. We're people just like everybody else. I mean, you don't see people who listen to opera or classical music or bloody Neil Diamond getting violently attacked on the street because of their taste in music. No, it's just us. Why? What is it? And what it is, it's small-minded people who think they're being clever, who think they're being smart because we stand out, because we look different, because we dress different. And, they're trying to look cool and hard in front of their mates. You're not looking cool. You're not looking hard. It's not big. It's not clever. It's petty and it's pathetic. But this sort of thing, it just keeps getting ignored. It gets brushed under the carpet and treated like a non-issue, and that needs to change. You know, the more we ignore it, the more it's going to happen. And sooner or later, what happened to Sophie Lancaster is going to happen again, and that is unacceptable. We cannot allow that to happen ever again. It should never have happened in the first place. And this is what the Sophie Lancaster Foundation is all about. They want to bring more attention to the fact that this is happening, point out what a real big problem this really is, and get something done about it so that what happened to Sophie Lancaster will never happen again. Because they don't want to see another family go through what they went through when they had to watch their daughter slowly die over the course of 2 weeks. So if you'd like to find out more about the Sophie Lancaster Foundation, there is a link to their website in the description below. You can go over there, find out what they're working on at the moment, find out what their overall goal is, because they can explain it a lot better than I can. And if you can help them out in any small way, whether it's a small donation through their website or something as simple as one of these Sophie wristbands, maybe even one of the other ones, you know, they've got a whole bunch of other really cool stuff over there, you know. If you can help them out in any small way, don't feel obligated to do so, obviously, but if you can help them out in any small way, the smallest amount can make the biggest difference. And the sooner we bring more attention to this, the sooner we get more people talking about this, the sooner we can help to stamp out prejudice, hatred, and intolerance everywhere. But I'm going to leave that as it is for the time being. Thank you all very, very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.